My friends, there comes a time in life when the waiting, the delay, and the silence finally break. Many of us have prayed, cried, and asked God, when will it happen? When will the promise be fulfilled? Today, I declare to you your waiting season is over, and God is moving right now. My friends, I want you to lean in and hear this with your whole heart. Waiting is not wasted. I know sometimes it feels like the waiting season is the most painful, the most confusing, and even the most discouraging part of the journey. You've prayed, you've worked hard, you've believed, and yet it feels like nothing is moving. You look around and see other people getting what you've been asking for. They're stepping into their promise, while you're stuck in the same place, holding on to the same prayer. And you begin to wonder, God, have you forgotten me? Did you leave me behind? Did you hear me at all? But here is the truth that changes everything. Your waiting is never wasted. Every moment of silence, every unanswered prayer, every delay, it's all working for your good. Just because you can't see anything doesn't mean nothing is happening. Just because you don't see movement on the outside doesn't mean God isn't working something on the inside. Think about a seed. When you put it in the ground, it looks like nothing is happening. You water it, you protect it, you check on it day after day, and still nothing breaks through the soil. But underground, where your eyes cannot see, roots are growing. The foundation is being laid. The strength is being built. And when that seed finally breaks through, it's not weak, it's not fragile. It's strong, it's ready, it's alive. That is what your waiting season is doing for you. God uses waiting to prepare you, to mature you, to strengthen you for the very thing you've been asking Him for. Because sometimes, if He gave you the promise too early, you wouldn't know how to handle it. If He opened the door before you were ready, the weight of it might crush you. Waiting is not punishment, it's preparation. It's training ground for your character, for your faith, for your resilience. You may think you're stuck, but what's really happening is that you are being equipped. And I know it's hard. I know it feels lonely. I know it can feel like everybody else is passing you by. But I promise you, the same God who gave you the vision, the same God who planted that dream in your heart, the same God who whispered that promise to you in the stillness. He has not forgotten. He is not ignoring you. He is not punishing you. He is preparing you for more than you could ever imagine. Some of you have been waiting for years, for healing, for restoration, for breakthrough, for a door to open. And you've been asking, why is it taking so long? But what if I told you that the longer the wait, the greater the harvest? What if I told you that while you were waiting, God was not just lining things up around you, He was aligning things inside of you. He was pruning the things that don't belong. He was breaking off the fear. He was removing the doubt. He was strengthening the faith in you so that when the moment comes, you'll be able to carry it with strength and confidence. The waiting season is where your roots go deep. The waiting season is where your trust gets real. The waiting season is where you learn that even if the blessing hasn't shown up yet, you still have everything you need because God Himself is with you. And when you learn that, when you understand that waiting doesn't mean wasted, then you stop rushing, you stop comparing, you stop doubting, you start resting, you start trusting, and you start believing again. So the next time you feel like you're stuck, the next time you wonder why it hasn't happened yet, I want you to remember this underground. Where you cannot see, God is building something strong in you. He's making sure that when your moment comes, you won't just step into it, you'll be ready to thrive in it. Waiting is not wasted. It's working for you, not against you. And when your season shifts, you'll realize the delay was never denial. It was always preparation for the promise. My friends, let me remind you of something powerful. Hidden growth happens in silence. We live in a world that celebrates the visible, the loud, the noticeable. We measure progress by what can be seen, what can be touched, what can be posted for others to applaud. And when we don't see those results in our own lives, we begin to doubt ourselves. We think, if I can't see it, it must not be happening. If I can't measure it, it must not exist. But the truth is, some of the most important growth in your life is happening in places nobody can see, not even you. Think about how nature works. The tallest trees, the most beautiful flowers, the strongest crops, none of them begin above the ground. Every single one of them begins in the dark, buried beneath the soil, hidden away from sight in silence, in stillness. That's where the real growth begins. And if you judged that seed too early, if you dug it up after a few days and said, "Nothing's happening here," you would be wrong. Because underground, something is happening. The roots are stretching, the foundation is forming, life is being created. But it takes time, and it takes trust to allow that hidden growth to do its work. The same thing is true in your life. You may not see the evidence yet. You may not see the breakthrough on the surface. People may even look at you and think you're not moving, not progressing, not succeeding. But what they can't see, and maybe what you've forgotten to notice, is that deep down inside of you, growth is taking place. Character is being built, strength is being formed, resilience is being tested, faith is being stretched, all in silence, all in hiddenness. And let me tell you, this hidden growth is often the most important growth because it lasts. What comes quickly can vanish quickly, but what grows deeply, slowly, and quietly in the dark, that kind of growth sustains you. That's why some of you have been hidden, overlooked, underestimated. Because God has been doing a quiet work inside of you. He has been planting things that couldn't be rushed, lessons that couldn't be skipped, strength that couldn't be built overnight. Don't despise the silence. Don't be discouraged by the hiddenness. Don't confuse quiet seasons with empty ones. Just because no one is clapping for you right now doesn't mean you're not growing. Just because the world can't see your progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. In fact, the silence may be proof that God is working on something greater than what you could see. You might be in a place right now where you feel unseen. You feel overlooked. You feel like all your effort, all your prayers, all your sacrifice is going unnoticed. But the truth is, hidden seasons are holy seasons. That's where intimacy with God deepens. That's where trust is refined. That's where you become strong enough to carry what's coming next. Because when the breakthrough finally shows up, it's going to require a version of you that is steady, grounded, and ready. And that version is being built right now in silence. So stop doubting your progress just because you can't see it yet. Stop measuring your growth by what other people can applaud. Some of the greatest transformations happen where no one is watching. Some of the greatest victories are won in the quiet battles no one else knows about. And one day, when the fruit finally bursts through the soil, when the evidence finally becomes visible, everyone will see the strength that was formed in the silence. So even if you feel hidden right now, trust the process. Even if it feels quiet, believe that something powerful is happening beneath the surface. Hidden growth is still growth. Hidden growth is sacred. Hidden growth is preparing you for a season where the world will finally see what God has been forming all along. My friends, there's something we all need to embrace deep in our hearts. God's timing is perfect. We live in a culture that has trained us to believe everything should happen fast. We want instant answers, immediate results, quick turnarounds. And when life doesn't work on our schedule, when doors don't open the moment we knock, when prayers don't get answered in the way we expected, we start to believe something is wrong. We begin to think we've missed it, or maybe God has forgotten us. But I'm here to tell you today, the timing of God is never late, and it's never too early. It's always right on time. Sometimes what feels like delay is actually divine protection. You may have been praying for an opportunity, but if God opened that door too soon, It could have overwhelmed you. You may have been longing for a relationship, but if He allowed it before you were healed and whole, it could have broken you. You may have been waiting for success, but if it came before your character was ready, it could have destroyed you. What looks like waiting from your perspective is really God saying, I love you too much to give you something that will harm you. His timing isn't about punishment, it's about preparation and protection. Think about it. How many times have you looked back over your life and realized that something you desperately wanted didn't happen when you wanted it to, and later you were grateful it didn't? At the time, you thought it was rejection, but in reality, it was redirection. At the time, you thought it was a closed door, but in truth, it was God guiding you to a better one. That's what His timing does. It aligns everything perfectly, not just for the moment, but for your future. The challenge is, we can't always see what God sees. We look at the now, the temporary, the immediate. God looks at the whole picture. He knows the beginning and the end, and everything in between. That's why trusting His timing can feel hard, because it requires us to surrender control. It requires us to let go of our clocks, our calendars, our deadlines, and lean into faith that says, even if it doesn't happen today, I trust that when it does, it will be right. And I know some of you are tired. You've been waiting for years, for healing, for breakthrough, for change. You've been asking, how much longer? You've been thinking maybe it's never going to happen. But hear me, just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Delay does not equal denial. God's silence does not mean absence. His "not yet" is not the same as no. It's His way of saying, I'm aligning things in your favor. I'm setting up people, places, and opportunities. I'm making sure that when the door opens, you'll be able to walk through it fully prepared. And when that moment comes, when His timing meets your readiness, it's going to feel sudden. It's going to feel like it happened overnight. People will look at you and think you rose too quickly, but they won't know about the years of waiting, the seasons of silence, the days when you almost gave up. They won't see the private faith it took to keep believing when nothing seemed to change. All they'll see is the fruit, but you'll know it was God's perfect timing all along. So today, don't let impatience steal your peace. Don't let comparison make you feel behind. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are exactly where you're supposed to be, on the timeline of a God who never makes mistakes. Trust that when the moment comes, it will not be too late, and it will not be too early. It will be right on time. My friends, I want you to hold on to this truth: sudden shifts are coming. Life has a way of making us believe that change always has to be slow, that progress takes forever, that the promise is always far off in the distance. We get so used to waiting that we forget God can move in an instant. We forget that one phone call, one opportunity, one conversation, one open door can change everything. What took years to build can shift in a single moment when God decides it's time. Think about how life unfolds sometimes. You've been struggling, you've been working, you've been praying, and it feels like nothing is moving. Then out of nowhere, a door opens you didn't even know existed. A connection is made you could never have orchestrated. A blessing comes that you couldn't have earned by yourself. That's what I mean when I say sudden shifts. The long nights of waiting give way to morning light, and it happens so quickly you almost can't believe it. But here's the thing: those sudden shifts are never random. They're the result of everything that's been happening quietly in the background, all the preparation, all the hidden growth, all the divine timing. God doesn't just drop things on you without reason. He aligns them so that when the shift comes, you're ready for it. You might not see it coming, but He's been setting it up all along. And sometimes we get discouraged because we think, I've been waiting for so long, maybe it will always be this way. But God is a God of suddenly. He's a God who can turn water into wine in an instant, who can part the sea in a moment, who can open prison doors overnight, who can take what looked like death and call it back to life. When he moves, he doesn't need time the way we do. He doesn't need permission. He doesn't need things to line up according to human standards. He simply speaks, and the shift happens. That's why you can't give up in the waiting, because your suddenly could be tomorrow. Your suddenly could be next week. Your suddenly could be closer than you think. What feels like years of silence can break open in a moment, and when it does, you will see why it took the time it did. You'll see that nothing was wasted. You'll see that all those silent seasons were preparing you to carry the weight of the blessing. And let me tell you, when the sudden shift comes, it's not just going to change one thing. It will ripple into every area of your life. One opportunity can shift your career, your family, your confidence, your faith. One healing can change the way you see your entire future. One breakthrough can restore everything you thought you lost. That's how God moves. He multiplies. He doesn't just give you what you asked for, He gives you more than you imagined. But here's the key: you've got to stay ready. You can't let discouragement make you lazy. You can't let waiting make you bitter. Because when the shift comes, it won't wait for you to get prepared. It will already be in motion, and you'll need to step into it. That's why the waiting season matters so much. It's building in you the strength, the resilience, and the clarity you'll need when everything changes. So if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling forgotten, if you're wondering when it will ever happen, I want you to remember this: sudden shifts are on the way. They may not come when you expect them, but they will come right on time. And when they do, your life will never be the same again. My friends, this is the moment where faith must replace fear. Fear will always show up when you are close to stepping into something greater. It whispers in your ear that you are not ready, that you are not worthy, that it's safer to stay where you are. Fear convinces you that the unknown is too risky, that you could fail, that it might not work out. And if you listen to it long enough, it will paralyze you. It will keep you standing still while the door of opportunity is wide open in front of you. But faith is different. Faith doesn't need to see every step ahead. Faith doesn't require guarantees. Faith says, even though I can't see it, I believe it. Even though I don't have all the answers, I trust that God does. Faith gives you the courage to take the first step, even when the path isn't clear. It gives you strength to move forward, even when fear is shouting louder than your confidence. The truth is, fear and faith can't lead you at the same time. One of them has to take the wheel. And if you allow fear to guide your decisions, you'll end up shrinking your life to fit inside the box of what feels safe. But when you let faith lead, you begin to expand. You begin to stretch. You begin to step into rooms you never thought you'd belong in, opportunities you never thought you'd have, and blessings you never thought you'd hold. I know fear feels real. Fear feels powerful. But more often than not, fear is nothing more than imagination working against you. Fear paints the worst-case scenario. Fear tells you stories about failure before you've even tried. Fear magnifies the "what if it doesn't work?" and completely silences the "what if it does?" And so many of us let fear dictate our choices. We stay in jobs we don't love, in relationships that drain us, in situations that break us, simply because fear says, at least it's familiar. But faith is a different voice. Faith tells you you were made for more. You are stronger than you think. You are backed by a power greater than your own. Faith reminds you that God did not bring you this far to leave you. Faith whispers that if He opened the door, He will also give you the strength to walk through it. Faith declares that every promise He made to you is still alive, still waiting, still possible. And let's be honest, it's not that people with faith never feel fear. It's that they choose not to let fear make the final decision. They feel the fear, and they move anyway. They hear the doubts, but they answer them with belief. They step out on water when everything in them says to stay in the boat. And because of that, they see miracles that fear would have kept them from. This is the season where you cannot afford to let fear be louder than faith. Because when God is moving, He doesn't need you to be perfect. He doesn't need you to have it all figured out. He just needs you to believe enough to take the step. And once you do, once you let faith push you past your fear, you'll look back and realize that the thing you were most afraid of was never as powerful as it seemed. Fear will always try to hold you hostage. Faith will always set you free. Choose faith because it will carry you into the very life you've been waiting for. My friends, let this sink deep into your spirit. God is faithful to deliver. Every promise He has spoken over your life is still alive, still active, and still on its way to fulfillment. Sometimes, when the waiting feels long, when the silence stretches on, when the obstacles seem bigger than your strength, it's easy to wonder if maybe God changed His mind. It's easy to question if maybe you heard Him wrong, or if maybe you don't qualify for what He said He would do. But the truth is, God is not like people. He doesn't make promises and then walk away. He doesn't give you hope just to take it back. When He speaks, He delivers. When He declares, He fulfills. The problem is, we often expect the promise to show up in the way we imagined it. We have a picture in our minds of how it should look, who it should come through, when it should arrive. And when it doesn't fit our picture, we assume it's not happening. But God doesn't work according to our limited vision. He works according to His perfect plan. That means His delivery may not look like what you expected, but it will always be better than what you imagined. He knows what you need, when you need it, and how you need it. Think about your own life. How many times did you want something so badly, only to look back later and realize that what God gave you instead was far greater than what you were asking for? That's His faithfulness. He sees the bigger picture. He knows the path you're walking. He understands the details you can't see. And because of that, His delivery is always right, always complete, always exactly what you need. But here's the key. You have to hold on to the promise even when you don't see the evidence. That's what faith does. Faith believes in the dark what God spoke in the light. Faith holds on when everything in you wants to let go. Faith says, I don't see it yet, but I believe it's on the way. And when you position your heart like that, you begin to live with expectation. You begin to wake up not with dread, but with hope. You start to look at each day as a potential day of delivery. And I know it's not easy. Some of you have been praying for years, and you're tired. Some of you have been holding on to a promise for so long, you've almost convinced yourself it was just a dream. But don't mistake the delay for abandonment. Don't confuse silence with forgetfulness. God is not a man that He should lie. If He said He would do it, He will do it. If He promised it, He will bring it to pass. Your job is not to figure out how. Your job is to keep trusting, to keep believing, to keep preparing for the moment it arrives. Because when God delivers, it won't just be enough. It will be more than enough. It won't just bless you. It will bless those connected to you. It won't just answer your prayer. It will exceed your prayer. It won't just meet your need. It will overflow into abundance. That's the kind of God you serve. That's the faithfulness of His nature. So don't let discouragement steal your hope. Don't let time make you forget what He promised. Don't let obstacles convince you it's impossible. The promise is still alive, and the one who gave it is faithful to bring it to pass. God is faithful to deliver.